Welcome to Random, Rambling, and Rhetoric with TeeJ Mercer. That's my TT. And it's all powered by her Samsung Notes. Now, here's my TT.
I just loves me some porta potties, said no one ever. I don't know about you, but the ickiest thing on the planet is when I am forced to use a porta potty. I try to hold my bladder until the last possible minute. And what about nasty public restrooms? Ew, public restrooms plus kids. Parents, what do you do as soon as you take them to a public bathroom? You make them hold up their hands and forbid them to touch anything. Then you get in the stall, there's no toilet paper or seat cover, you handle your business, come out, and then there's no soap or paper towels. Lord have mercy. Jesus is just not a good situation all around. Fortunately, there's the restroom kit, a full bathroom solution the size of a lightweight deck of cards. A deck of cards, y'all. I keep one in my purse all the time just because it's complete with a full patented oversized toilet seat cover, enough toilet paper to cover the essentials, plus wet wipes for your tushy and your hands. The restroom kit is a don't leave home without it necessity for your road trips, you going camping, the beach, festivals, basically any restroom that ain't yours. Even that friend of yours who's cleaning is not their strong suit. You know what I mean? So pop on over and visit therestroomkit.com. That's therestroomkit.com. And when you use the code RAMBLINGS, RAMBLINGS, you will get 15% off your purchase. So stop going to the bathroom without the full protection you need. Go get the restroom kit at therestroomkit.com. Hey, it's T to the J. And you know me, I'm the walking explanation point, the storyteller, the dynamite in glasses, the human emoji. But I'm also the Jesus freak, who is the world's greatest hugger and world's greatest TT to Sir Grayson the Great and T2 Mercer. And today, on our walk, because you know that's where you can always find me, pretty much in my neighborhood of North Hollywood, California. On my walk, we're going to actually continue from last episode, which I told you about my friend, my brother, Kurt T. Jones. And so if you haven't listened to the episode, actually go listen to that one first, because then it's going to put this one in better context. So Kurt, as I mentioned in the previous episode, he had actually come whisk me off from a day of he had crashed my pity party and came and scooped me up, took me to see the Avengers, and we ended up hitting an event at Paramount Studios that I wasn't going to go to, wasn't really in the mood to go to, but we decided that's what we were going to do. And it was an event around the screening of the BET show, The Rundown with Robin Thede. And let me just pause, let me just take a moment here and tell you how bomb that show is. I freaking loved it. And if you are a fan of Jon Stewart, like I am, The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, like I am, Samantha Bee, John Oliver, Larry Wilmore, then check out The Rundown with Robin Thede. She is brilliant and amazing. And if nothing else, I'm so glad I went just so that I could be introduced to that show, because when I got home at like 11 o'clock at night, I started binge watching all the episodes from the beginning. And it was a panel moderated by Gabrielle Union. And the 2 days before, I'd gone to an event up at Disney that was a table read for the show Blackish, which I'm a fan of as well. And they had this big block party. That was fun. And if you're a fan of Blackish and you remember that first episode they did the the walk through history and talking about how, slavery was an impact that slavery had on our life, our culture. And they did this amazing Broadway style number. Well, walking into the theater, they had the costumes from that. And if I get a chance to, I'll post this on the website at tuneinwithtj.com so that you can see the pictures I took. But it was, Lord have mercy, Jesus, they had the best barbecue. Oh my gosh, I don't know who was responsible for the barbecue, but it was tasty. Oh my gosh, it was good. And the baked beans. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm digressing, and I'm gonna end up being hungry. So let me get back to where I was. So I had done that because we're in a season of what's called For Your Consideration, which is where shows are actually putting themselves out there to be considered for award season and all of that. So that's why I was at that event. So we were at the Robin Thede event, and then they had a reception afterwards. And I'll try to remember to post the pictures from that event as well, or have my assistant post the pictures from that event as well, so you can take a look at those. And so, I'm the type of person that as a kid, I will talk to anybody. So my teachers would move me all the time. And it didn't matter because I was always going to find something to talk about to whoever I was sitting next to. And so when I'm out at events like that, I really do become somewhat of a social butterfly. Part of me is quite introverted, but when I do things like that, because I love meeting fascinating people and talking to them. And so I walk up to one of the tables, those kind of cocktail tables that you stand around. So I walk up to one of those tables, and there was a gentleman standing there. And he was I guess he qualified himself as, I'm the middle-aged white man. And so we got to talking, and he was telling me about how he just gotten nominated for an Emmy for Good News, and the show Good News on NBC. And so I was like thrilled and everything. And we got to talking to him about his history, his walk, his journey. And I was telling him that one of the events that I'm still on the waiting list for was coming up for the Power event. And he was like, well, if I am done shooting that day, how about you be my plus one? I was like, bet. So I thought that was interesting. And Kurt was with me. So Kurt and I have this thing where, especially if we do events together, we'll set off and meet people. And then if there's an introduction that needs to be made, we will bring the person to the other and, introduce. So we end up being each other's kind of walking billboard. And the other thing that we do is we scout out the food because these industry events, they don't splurge on the food and the liquor. Now, I don't drink, so I ain't really fazed by the liquor, but I don't know why I got to say it like the liquor. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but they don't splurge. I mean, they splurge is what I'm trying to say. They go all out. So the hors d'oeuvres are usually tasty. So we were in the inside, and Curtis talking to somebody, and I'm scouting out all the different hors d'oeuvre trays and bringing him samples and feeding him while he's talking. So then when I'm outside talking to Patrick, the gentleman I just mentioned, we're at the table, and up walks this woman to sit her drink down. And I'm looking at her like, I know her. Now, living in LA, you really don't ever know if you know a person because you know them, you work with them. Do you go to the same gym? Do you go to the same nail salon? Do you see them all the time? Do you run into them at Whole Foods enough? Or are they really your friend? Or is it somebody you just see on TV? So I'm sitting there trying to place her. And then I thought back to Sunday afternoon. So this was a Tuesday night. Sunday afternoon, I had just randomly chosen a film off of Netflix to just chill for my Sunday afternoon. And I'm looking at her going, oh my God, that was the star of the film I just watched. And so I blurted out, hey, I just saw your Netflix flick. And her face lit up. She's like, you did? I was like, yeah. So we ended up striking up a conversation. Turns out she went to Juilliard and she's got other stuff brewing. And so Kurt walks up at the perfect time and starts bragging on what I do. And so she and I exchange information. We find out we don't live that far from each other. And so here's again, once again, I'm glad I listen to the friends around me who come and get me out of my funk or whatever bad mood I'm in, because here's a potential client. For those of you who don't know, I help people with their publicity and I coach them on how to knock out their interviews. So here's another potential client. And so I'm standing there and we're all talking and laughing like we've been old friends. And up walks another couple who asked, is there anyone using this part? I was like, no, we were waiting on you to join us. So that, got a laugh and we're all talking. And that conversation ran the gamut of, it was a husband and wife. The husband was a director. The wife was a casting director. And it was just nice, organic conversation, because one of the things that I'm not a fan of at these industry events is the industry talk necessarily and the pontificating that goes on. That's just not who I am. I'm like, I really, I'm not a big networker. I'm a person that just kind of likes to have a deeper conversation than surface of what do you do, what shows do you do, all of that. Nah, it ain't me. So I was so touched by this conversation that we talked about politics. We talked about domestic violence. They educated me on some things. I educated them on some things and gave them a different perspective of how to view things. And it was just really, really nice conversation, to the point where I know that at some point on the podcast, I want to invite people to come take a walk with me. And because I'm always meeting fascinating people, and I've been told before, I just have this gift of when I talk to people, I get them to open up and share things with me that I think are profound and that they don't necessarily talk about or have never shared before. And so I know that one aspect of this particular podcast, I want to introduce that element of walk and talk with TeeJ. And I get to bring you guys just fascinating people that I know deeply, or I have met and think they will have something great to share with my listeners. And so I was so fascinated by Christy, that's the wife, that mind you, if you listen to this episode, I probably still haven't, set this up, but I still pitched it to her. Like, listen, I'm launching a podcast, and I wanted to talk to interesting people. I want them to take a walk with me, and it's just a casual conversation that our listeners can get to eavesdrop on. And she was like, I would be honored. I'm flattered and that you would even think. And I'm like, yes, because I want them to know your journey. I want them to know. And so the reason why I guess I'm sharing this story, just because it was just cool. I just thought it was fascinating that, I really didn't want to go. But a lot of times I take myself or drag myself to these things knowing that there's either I'm there on assignment for somebody else, or God has someone else to be there for me. And I listen to my gut. I listen to my instinct, and I let it be what it can be. I don't go with an agenda per se. I just go with knowing that I want to either be an answer to somebody else's prayer, or let God use them to be an answer to my prayer. All right, so I need to do some thinking. So I got to wrap this up. So I'm going, get on about my day. And I want you to implement the SRS factor. The SRS factor, what is that, TeeJ? Go and ask me. What's that, TeeJ? Well, it's where you subscribe, because these episodes are uploaded at random with random topics. And I want you to review whatever platform you're listening to. Drop a girl a review if you have time. And then I want you to share. So that's the SRS. Share. Tell somebody about it if you think that my shenanigans, my life lessons, my faith can benefit them, can bring some joy into their life. Tell them about your TeeJ. But listen, I don't want no pity shares, okay? We don't do pity shares. So if you ain't inclined, don't do it. All right, till next time. Talk to you later.
Well, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed what my TT shared with you. And like she always says, let's go out and make God smile. And don't forget to hug somebody. It's T2 Mercer signing off now. See y'all later.